After all the hype, after all the anticipation, after all the emphasis, rallying people about the Epstein client list. Oh, we finally got information. We're going to crack down on this. Yeah, it ain't happening.
Disrupt America till I fuck.
Weird thing to happen. Remember when Donald Trump, when he was campaigning, said this on Fox News and was pretty revelating the fact that this was the first time a president or anyone even in a campaign was going to release sensitive documents that the American public has been asking for. Like, who really shot JFK? And to this day, people still don't know that. They don't know 9/11. They don't know what happened on such extraordinary events that it is just daunting how much information they kept away from the general public. Because if people know about these things, then they would know the dark truth of the society that they live in and how the ruling class are continuously oppressing them, leaving them out of the dark of the most heinous acts of human history. But here's Donald Trump on Fox News. Remember, this is during the campaign where he announced this.
Would you declassify the 9/11 files?
Yeah.
Would you declassify JFK files?
Yeah.
Would
I
you,
did a lot of it.
Would you declassify the Epstein files?
Yeah, I would.
All right.
I guess I would. I think that less so because, you don't know. You don't want to affect people's lives if it's phony stuff in there because there's a lot of phony stuff with that whole world. But I think I would, or at least
Do you think that would restore trust? Help restore trust?
Yeah, I don't know about Epstein so much as I do the others.
What an odd thing to say.
So that was kind of hilarious because people at first thought, oh, Trump was going to release the Epstein client list. Trump's going to release the JFK files. That's pretty impressive. That's amazing. I'm going to vote for something like that. And then a couple seconds in, he says, well, I don't want to release too much information if it might hurt certain people. So that right away was kind of a suspicious tell. But people went along with it. People thought, hey, there could be a chance. People were building up to this momentum. They thought, hey, Donald Trump is at least willing to have this conversation, unlike Joe Biden, unlike Kamala Harris, unlike so many other politicians on both sides of the aisle, whether Democrat or Republican, just to show you how much of these politicians, how much influence, how much power individuals have that are on this client list that are in part with the JFK cover-up, the whole conspiracy around it. There's still so much speculation that no one can really fathom because of how much information they have just kept in the dark that they could not expose, that they could not reveal. A lot of people have theories. A lot of people have been having questions of certain things, but we're never going to find the full information because if we release the information to the general public, then the public becomes powerful because knowledge really is power. So here, this is Dan Bongino, who is now the assistant director to the FBI. But Dan Bongino, when he was a podcaster on Rumble, used to rile up his audience about the Epstein files until he got into the club. So here, this is from 2023, where on his podcast show, he told people this.
Listen, that Jeffrey Epstein story is a big deal. Please do not let that story go. Keep your eye on this. Catherine Rumler, we need to keep the heat on this case, folks. There are a lot of people who are knee deep in the Washington swamp who are not telling you the truth about serious allegations out there that Epstein may have had video and audio of people out there doing things they shouldn't have been doing. And you should be asking yourself the question, how is it that all these people, the CIA director, the Obama fixer, Bill Clinton, all intersected paths with Jeffrey Epstein? Jeffrey Epstein isn't with us anymore, and nobody seems to want to talk about it. Outside of a few entrepreneurial media outlets saying, hey, this is a big deal.
So that was him telling his audience in 2023 to keep your eye on this because of how important this is, that we have people in highest power, in positions of power and authority in our government, in royalty, in Hollywood, all over the place, that are part of this predatory sex trafficking, child molestation ring that is harmful to people, that is harmful to society. And we need to be on high alert for this. He said this back in 2023 when he was just a podcaster. But now that Dan Bongino got selected to be the assistant FBI director with Kash Patel, notice how he immediately changed the tune. As soon as he got the position, as soon as he got a comfortable spot in the Trump administration, all of a sudden, hey, remember that guy that I used to be and pretended to be some sort of, libertarian against the government, and we're going to crack down on these conspiracies? Yeah, that was full of crap. That was full of crap, because now I'm in a comfy position. I don't have to do things for you. So here's Dan Bongino from 2023 to 2025. This was recently on Fox News, completely flipping the switch.
He killed himself. You want me to? I've seen the whole file. He killed himself.
Listen,
that's it. That was it. Oh, he just killed himself. I read the whole file. He just killed himself. Done and done. I don't have to listen about it. I don't have to expose anything. I don't have to explain myself to people. He just killed himself. Oh my God. How it's not obvious to people that once you get into the club, this is what we saw with AOC. This is what we see with so many individuals, that when you're part of this cult, once you get that position, once you get that comfortable spot, they got you. They're going to manipulate you. They're going to blackmail you. They're going to deceive you so that they can take control of you. That's why, sadly, I didn't really have much hope. I tried to have some hope in the Trump administration. I thought there may have been some differences. I know RFK Jr. is a little better when it comes to handling health and human services. I know Tulsi Gabbard is a little better than former administrators in the security intel. But it's not like it's going to be a radical change. It's not going to be like a radical change. Because why? Because they got in. They got in. Do you think they're really going to have people that are responding of the people that are not corrupted, that can't be bought up into a position of politics? Do you really think they're going to allow them to have positions of power and authority if they can't manipulate them? Look at Donald Trump. They tried to assassinate this guy twice, do unprecedented, unethical lawfare against the guy for such a long time, and then all of a sudden just allowed him to become president again. Why was that the case? Oh, that's right, because now they finally got Donald Trump. They finally got something to control Donald Trump, and all it took was Miriam Adelson to write a blank check. And now you could see that once you're in, they got you. They got you, folks. So here's also, this is Attorney General Pam Bondi. Oh, here we go. Pam Bondi, also on Fox News. This was months ago, rallying up people. Yes, we're going to get the Epstein file list exposed to the public. It's on my desk right now, and I'm going to tell your audience to wait in anticipation. Watch this.
The DOJ may be releasing the list of Jeffrey Epstein's clients. Will that really happen?
It's sitting on my desk right now to review. That's been a directive by President Trump. I'm reviewing that. I'm reviewing JFK files, MLK files. That's all in the process of being reviewed because that was done at the directive of the president from all of these agencies.
So have you seen anything that you said, oh my God?
So it's on her desk right now as a directive by the president who got elected by the people, who campaigned on this promise. It's on my desk right now. Any moment, I'm going to be exposing this detail. I'm going to be exposing a lot of information. And turns out the Epstein client list doesn't exist. Go figure. Go figure. After all the hype, after all the anticipation, after all the emphasis, after all the people on social media, on podcasts, all these people grifting up, they were rallying people about the Epstein client list. Oh, we finally got information. We're going to crack down on this. Yeah, it ain't happening. It ain't happening. Why? Simple. They need the blackmail. They need the blackmail. They know that highly influential people, even in their administration, are on this list. So, of course, they're not going to reveal who's involved with Jeffrey Epstein and expose this ring, not for a second, because they need that power over people. They need the power over Hollywood. They need the power over royalty. This is what makes the world go round. It really is a blackmail world where deceit, betrayal, information gets, is used as a powerful measure to manipulate and control over people. That's what why J. Edgar Hoover was so popular, is because and so powerful, because he had so much information on so many individuals that he became a powerful figure. That's how Epstein became such a lucrative millionaire, almost billionaire. Not because he was smart or had business acumen or worked in an industry that profited well. No, he had blackmail over people. And he was paid off by individuals to stay quiet. So, of course, it's not going to be released, folks. Promises made, promises failed. CTV News says Epstein client list does not exist, says the U.S. Justice Department. Go figure. Jeffrey Epstein did not maintain a client list, the U.S. Justice Department acknowledged Monday, as it said no more files related to the wealthy financier of sex trafficking investigation will be made public, despite promises from Attorney General Pam Bondi that had raised the expectations of conservative influencers and conspiracy theorists. No, everybody wanted to know about the Epstein files. They don't care. They don't want to see the videos of them actually molesting children, but they want to know who was involved in the sex trafficking ring, because it affects everybody. It affects everybody. If you have children, it affects your family. If you have any acknowledgement of this situation, it affects you. That's how it's not a partisan issue. It's not conservatives or conspiracy. It affects everybody. Everybody from the left and the right wanted to know about this information. And of course, it never got released. Same with the JFK files. Same with MLK. Same with 9/11. You're not allowed to know things. You're not allowed to know things. And if you question things, or God forbid, read into things or investigate for yourself, you're considered an awful person. You're considered a conspiracy nut. You're even could be considered a truther. Remember that? Remember how they used the word truth as a derogatory term against people? Oh, what are you, a 9/11 truther? Yes, because God forbid I want to know what happened on a specific day that affected the entire world. God forbid I want to know what happened on a terrorist attack in New York City. God forbid we actually know what happened on that day that cost the lives of people. God forbid. And you want to demonize the word truther. Oh, you're a truther. You want to know information. Why can't you just be in the dark and be happy and complacent while authoritarians rule over you? The acknowledgement that the well-connected Epstein did not have lists of clients to whom underage girls were trafficked represents a public walkback of a theory that the Trump administration had helped promote, with Bondi suggesting in a Fox News interview earlier this year that such a document was sitting on my desk for review. Even as it released video from the inside a New York City jail meant to definitely prove that Epstein killed himself, the department also sent in a memo that it was refusing to release other evidence investigators have collected. Why would you refuse to release more evidence if you say that evidence is backing your claim? If they say that Epstein killed himself, which we know is we know that's crap. We know that they're lying to you. They're gaslighting you. But if you have evidence, if you had for sure evidence to back your claim, why would you not release that to the public? Why would you not put this argument to rest and show people the documents? Because they have nothing. They have nothing. They have the suspicion that Epstein killed himself. They just want to tell people that so they shut up about it. They don't want people to know that, hey, the cameras were turned off, that he was, from a short period of time, took off suicide watch, and there's a possibility that people were after him. They don't want people to know about this. They don't want people to know exactly what happened. Bondi for weeks had suggested more material was going to be revealed. It's a new administration. Everything's going to come out to the public, she said at one point. After her first document dump, she had hyped angered President Donald Trump's base by failing to deliver revelations. Yeah, because that little dump that she had, the information that was being revealed that influencers were holding up binders for, was all redacted. It was useless. There was barely any information on it. You might as well just give out blank paper to people and tell them to draw what they think happened to Epstein. That's how useless it was for the first information drop. And that's when people were starting to have suspicions that, hey, maybe this administration was not going to follow suit on their promises. Hey, maybe that whole Epstein clientele list is never going to be revealed in any administration, not even Trump administration, because let's face it, blackmail makes the world go round, and if we reveal the blackmail, then the game is all over. The deceit, the betrayal, the power and influence of these hungry, Luciferic people is over. So, of course, they're not ever going to reveal this. And perverts are allowed to roam free, I guess. That episode, in which conservative internet personalities were invited to the White House in February and provided with binders marked Epstein Files Phase 1 and declassified that contained documents that are largely already been in the public domain, has spurred far-right influencers to lambast and deride Bondi. After the first release fell flat, Bondi said officials were poring over a truckload of previous withheld evidence she said had been handed over by the FBI. In a March TV interview, she claimed the Biden administration sat on these documents. No one did anything with them, adding, sadly, these people don't believe in transparency. But I think more unfortunately, I think a lot of them don't believe in honesty. Well, it turns out you don't believe it either. Turns out Pam Bondi, Kash Patel, Dan Bongino, Tulsi Gabbard, all these people within Trump's camp don't believe in what they preach. Because once you're in, they got you. It is a cult. It is a cult. It's a cult when you're entering the Republican side of things. It's a cult when you're entering the Democrat side of things. There are two factions of the same coin. It's a big, giant club, and you and I ain't in it. But after a months-long review of evidence in the government's possession, the Justice Department determined that no further disclosure would be appropriate or warranted. The memo says the department noted that much of the material was placed under seal by a court to protect victims, and only a fraction of it would have been aired publicly had Epstein gone to trial. So their excuse is, well, we weren't going to release all of it anyway, so it's better not to just release it at all than release tiny bits of information. Again, they have to have this blackmail. They have to have this. They have to keep this under wraps because this is huge information. This is why it's so important. Why it is one of the most talked issues globally. Not just within America, not just within YouTube, not just within social media, but around the world. Let's not forget that one of Epstein's accusers, Virginia Giuffre, was killed in Australia after a bus crash, after kidney failure, and she died at the age of 41. That definitely is suspicious enough to link to what's happening here. That nobody wants to ever release any information about that. The 2-page memo before the logos of the Justice Department and the FBI, but was not signed by any individual official. One of our highest priorities is combating child exploitation and bringing justice to victims, the memo says. Perpetrating unfounded theories about Epstein serves neither of these ends. Conservatives have also sought proof of the government cover-up of Epstein's activities, and Death expressed outrage Monday over the department's position. Far-right influencer Jack Posobiec posted, "We are all told more was coming, that answers were out there and would be provided. Incredible how utterly mismanaged this Epstein mess has been, and it didn't have to be." Conspiracy theorist Alex Jones wrote that the next to the DOJ will say, actually, Jeffrey Epstein never existed. They would probably say that. Actually, the Jeffrey Epstein actually never existed. It's a hologram created by George Soros. They wanted to trick you and think there was a financier doing sex trafficking when really there was no such thing as sex trafficking, okay? It's a mirage. I tell you, whatever you think the State Department is capable of, they probably already done it. Calling it over the top sickening. Elon Musk shared a series of photos of clown applying makeup appearing to mock Bondi for saying the client list doesn't exist after suggesting months ago that it was on her desk. The client list hubbub began when Bondi was asked in a Fox News interview whether the department would release such a document. She replied, "It was sitting on my desk right now to review." White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt and Justice Department spokesperson Chad Gilmartin said Monday that Bondi was referring to the Epstein files in general, not a client list specifically. Again, I don't need to see people molesting children. I don't need to see the videos and the images. All people just want is clarification of who was on that island, who's involved in the sex trafficking, so we can actually prosecute people and have some sort of justice. Because if we don't prosecute these people, what is the point of the Justice Department? What's the point of tracking down sex predators on the streets of Chicago and Boston and deporting migrants for human trafficking and sex molestation if we're not willing to prosecute one of the top predators in the world? What is the point? What is the point? We can't even hold people accountable who have done the most heinous actions, the most disgusting, heinous actions of humanity. We can't even prosecute them. So, forgive me if I don't believe for a second that the Justice Department is capable enough of prosecuting any crimes whatsoever. That we truly live in a lawless society where nothing makes sense, up is down, black is white. If we can't even hold account to one of the largest pedophiles on the face of the earth because we have to keep this blackmail under wraps, otherwise we lose all our power and influence, then the entire justice system, the entire essence of serving the needs of people, that's all gone. That's all gone. And you truly do live in an oligarchy. You truly do live in an oligarchy because it was never going to be released under Biden. It was never going to be released under a Democrat. And it's sure as hell not being released under Trump. So it doesn't even matter who's in control of the office. It was never going to be revealed. And here, Elon Musk has done some recent trolling about this. Because even for someone like him, which respectively probably knew about the Epstein clientele, knows few individuals, maybe even part of the Epstein clientele, who knows? But you remember this bombshell moment when Elon Musk was breaking things off with Donald Trump and revealed this very, very significant tweet here where it says, "Time to drop the really big bomb. Donald Trump is in the Epstein files. That is the reason they have not been made public. Have a nice day, DJT." So that was a big moment. That was a big moment that people were like freaking out about because Elon Musk may have just dropped the bomb on one of the most powerful figures in politics right now, that is Donald Trump. Because we know that Donald Trump had connections with Epstein. We know that Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell frequently visited Mar-a-Lago. We know that Virginia Giuffre, under Virginia Roberts at the time, was working at Mar-a-Lago. When guess who recruited her? Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. So, of course, Donald Trump is connected to this. Hence why Donald Trump had to roll back a bit in even that Fox News interview we showed at the beginning, where he said, I'm not going to reveal all the information right up in front because I want to protect certain people. Meaning him. He doesn't want to be outed. People within his administration don't want to be outed. His donors don't want to be outed in it. So now the truth has finally been revealed. So Elon Musk may have actually saved a huge amount of pain and suffering for people to understand that the Trump administration is not your savior. And even though Elon Musk is a billionaire and is a guy who just absolutely grotesque when it comes to working class people, union buster, unethical, doing H-1B visa transfers for individual American workers. Even with that, Elon Musk may have just gave us some deep details in the fact that Donald Trump was never going to release these Epstein files because of that specific tweet. But it goes even further. So now that's been revealed that Epstein files are not going to be revealed. They said that they lost it, that there's no files whatsoever. Elon Musk says, what's the time? Oh, look, it's no one has been arrested o'clock again. And he links to the official Epstein counter, pedophile arrest counter at 0. Isn't that funny? How about this? So he's been on a roll of tweeting and doing some memes right at Donald Trump and Pam Bondi for obvious reasons. I mean, they hyped this up for so long. Dan Bongino told his audience, don't look away. Don't keep this under wraps. We got to be vigilant about this. And then as soon as he got into that position, we're not going to do anything about it. So here's Elon Musk saying, we will release the Epstein list. We just need more time. The Epstein list is on my desk. There is no Epstein list. So there you go. There's the projection of all this. And now, to make this the final point here, this guy, Hustle Bitch, that's actually his name, Hustle Bitch pointed this out. So in March, Pam Bondi says the FBI has tens of thousands of Epstein videos. And then in April, Patel says that they vanished. That all these videos, all these images that they had just mysteriously vanished. And then July, DOJ says there's no client list, no names, suicide, case closed. And not only that, they made the case closed on the first Trump assassination. Oh, it's just one guy. No looking into it. It's all over. It's all done. Which, again, at that point, what's even the point of having the justice system or the FBI other than exploiting your own citizens? What's the point of it? What's the point of it? They can't even serve justice to the people and being elected to be responsible for that purpose. So here's a little breakdown.
Logical play out. If there was a video of some guy or gal committing felonies on an island and I'm in charge, don't you think you'd see it?
Tens of thousands of videos of Epstein with children or child porn. And there are hundreds of victims. And no one victim will ever get released. It's just the volume, and that's what they're going through right now. The FBI is diligently going.
Again.
So, who's lying here? It's amazing they can't even keep their lies straight. So, is it Kash Patel that's lying, or is it Pam Bondi that's lying? Or it's both. And they can't keep a straight narrative because they're both lying, they're both complicit, and they're both hiding this up because they don't want to be exposed in this game. They don't want their power and influence to be interrupted. They know they've been captured. They know they've been blackmailed. They know they've been deceived to keep this under wraps. I'm sure if Bill Gates, knew that the Epstein clientele list was going to be released at some point. He's going to be sending a forkload of money to the Trump administration to tell them to shut up. I'm sure that so many other billionaires are donating to the Trump camp, donating to Kash Patel, donating to Pam Bondi, saying, yeah, we'll continue to root for you and say how great you are. Just shut the hell up. Don't mention a word about the Epstein files. Don't mention a word about it. If I get leaked out, there goes my power. There goes my influence. God forbid we actually hold people accountable for the most heinous actions and crimes against humanity. So, there you go. There you go. Once again, promises made, promises failed. You're not going to get the Epstein client list because apparently there's no Epstein client list. You're not going to get information on JFK. You're not going to get information on MLK. I mean, people don't even know what happened in the assassination of John Lennon, for God's sakes. One of the greatest influential singers of a lifetime. We're not even allowed to know what happened on that day because of so much insanity and so much power and influence covering up that story because they don't want the general public, they don't want us to know about these things, because if we know about these things, we know about the truth, we have more acknowledgement of the world and our society, then we become powerful. Knowledge is power. And for the billionaire class, for the ruling class to maintain that power and authority over us is to keep us in the dark, and it's to blackmail to us and blackmail to other influential people. That's why Kash Patel, when he was campaigning to join the FBI, remember he said that he was going to transform the FBI. He was going to go in and prosecute people. He was going to drag those people out that were responsible for the most heinous actions under the Biden administration. And then guess what? He became part of the crowd, got into it, and boom, did a complete 180. Once you're in, they got you. They got you. And that's what I'm seeing here, is that every person in the Trump administration has been captured by some sort of blackmail, some sort of deceit. They have some sort of power and grip over them that, of course, they're never going to release the information of Jeffrey Epstein or the assassination or JFK or MLK or any of the promises they made. And I don't know if that's directly in the result of Israel. I don't know if that's the direct cause of why they're refusing to release the Epstein clientele list, but we know that there's huge influence with Israel in the regards of Jeffrey Epstein. We know that there's a huge influence with that foreign country in relation to Epstein, in relation to the sex trafficking that is also being redacted out, that's also being covered up, which says a lot. Says a lot about this.